Hey, Steve Basic Architect, welcome back. Yeah, you know it, we're in what I've started calling the Vibe Studio. Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much all you see is me and the Vibe board. So let's talk about it. We're wrapping up today. I just thought of that. Yeah, so this is the conclusion of the whole series where our Passive House, is it Passive House 11? Man, maybe that's what I was calling it, but it was the Passive House here. We designed it in 2009, we constructed it in 2010, and in hindsight, I think we did get our Passive House certification in 2011. So I think that's why I was calling it Passive House 11. But anyways, that's a picture of it near the end of construction. But yeah, today we're going to talk about that garage, and we're going to wrap it up out there. All right, you can see the house over there. We got our garage over here. A nice detached garage, probably, I don't know, in the order of about 40 or 50 feet away from the house. We're going to take a close look at the building section for this and things that are moving vertically. I had mentioned it, I think, previously, but we're going to get into it a little bit more in depth, right? These are 8-foot tall doors. One of the limits that was placed on us was this dimension could not, I think it was 17 feet. Couldn't exceed 17 feet. Now, the reason they did that, and the way the town here, and this is down on the Cape, Cape Cod, Northeast Massachusetts, or Eastern Massachusetts, the Northeast of the country. The reason for the 17 feet was they did the math of what is kind of a standard garage. We're going to get about 9 foot-ish, right? 9-10 foot. We're probably going to have about 1 foot of framing system in there. Now, certainly we can get elaborate and make it something shallower, but then that only leaves us 7 feet there. And here in Massachusetts, we have to have, I believe it's 7'4", maybe, for habitable space. I don't know. We're always building it more above that anyways. But having that, it really sets this system up so that you can't really have a whole lot of habitable space on that second floor. So you can get up there, you can have some storage and stuff, but what they're really trying to do is eliminate the possibility of someone turning their garage attic into an Airbnb, which would be pretty darn easy to do, but they're trying to make it extremely tough on that 17-foot mark to get us there. So, all right, if you remember, quick floor plan reminder, nice big garage, 32 feet, 24 feet. That allows us to get a couple cars parked in here and still have a bunch of space to maneuver there. We have our garage door there and there. We have a walk-through door there. And of course, we have a set of stairs that takes us upstairs to the upstairs space. We also have this 5-foot cased opening that takes us back to some storage here, which is a 6 by, 20-foot space. But the thing to notice also, I mentioned it earlier, and I actually found a picture of it. Got to remember, one of the things about 2010, when we were putting this under construction, I never thought I'd be sitting here 14 years later looking for photos to show you all exactly what we did out there. So my pictures were probably about 1/10 the amount of photos that I took on this project that I would take on a project that we're constructing today. But cold storage pit, yeah, homeowner's got a 2-acre plus garden here. He's a extremely great gardener, very professional about it. He has all his systems set up. He's growing everything out there. It's actually pretty crazy. But he wanted a cold storage pit. Now, the cold storage pit, flash forward here, you can see a couple things. Our slab ends here, and then it basically just drops down. It drops down right to basically the top of our footing. Now notice there is no slab here. All right. Notice this is heavily insulated, and this drops down and sits on that lip. So it's on a pulley system. You pull the string, that foam hatch goes up, and it's framed, so when it's closed you can walk on it there. But the most important thing that about cold storage is that the ground is coupled with the space, right? It's ground coupled. What does that mean? It means the temperature of the ground here is the temperature of the air inside the space. It means the moisture in the ground here is allowed to come in. Notice the foil facing on there. Notice the use of treated lumber around there to battle the elevated levels of moisture happening there, right? Ground coupled. You can put your root vegetables in there, root cellar. That's how we used to store them in older houses. The house I grew up in, I remember my dad every, I don't know, whatever season it was, I can't even remember if it was fall or spring, I think it was fall, he would go out to the farms and he'd buy like 3 or 4 bags of potatoes, a bag of onions, and we had a space in our cellar that it had a dirt floor and it was all closed in, and he would put these in there. And if you wanted potatoes, well, you took a pan, and my mom would send me downstairs and, hey, go get 10 potatoes for dinner. And I'd go down there and open the bag, grab the potatoes, grab 10 of them, put them in, bring them upstairs. But they survived in there all winter long until the following year when we'd go get another 5 bags of potatoes. So he would go out to the farms, get really fresh potatoes that were literally picked right then and there, and put in these large bags. So you got them at a good price. There was some economy there, but the quality of the potato and onions was that much better. So I would say 1 in 5 projects probably have a root cellar. A lot of people are keen to having gardens and growing vegetables and then wanting to store it in their own house. So coupling it with the ground, but remember, you don't want to couple this with the interior space, right? You don't want that coupled. We need that barrier here to ensure that, right? And in this case here, it's ground on the other side. Remember, the ground is probably somewhere around there. So it's coupled with the outside, or with the ground on the other side of the foundation wall that you'll see. But anyways, that is our little root cellar in the back of the house. And then, of course, this is our garage section. One of the things, you know, when I look at this, it's funny because you guys get to see it for the first time. I obviously drew it, but coming back to it, I'm like, wow, there's a bunch of things that we do differently now when we would show that, and just different sizes. But anyways, in this case here, it was a simple garage. So 16-inch wide footing, 10 inches tall, 8-inch wall with a 4-foot tall wall, which this being 10 inches means that we get our 4 foot below grade requirement that we have up here in climate zone 5, right, for frost. Typically today we would show a little stone pad underneath the slab there that we're not showing quite right there, but anyways, and it is a 4-inch concrete slab. We would just show the stone pad, and then the ground there. We do have our little 8-inch curb going up. I do have the stairs showing and numbered, so you know that's stuff we would still do today. Our riser 7 7/8, so it's under 8 inches and 9.5, typical on that run. And then of course, as we go up, you can see we have our 2x10 floor joists with a 3/4 inch plywood subfloor, because this is just simply storage up here. We do have 7 feet to our collar ties, and our metal roof 5/8 inch, our ridge board. These are all pretty standard things happening there. Let's just take a quick gander here, because there's something I want to show you here. Notice the wall, the exterior wall of the garage, it's not platform framed. It's actually balloon framed. So it goes all the way up. And then we provide some blocking out at that floor diaphragm. We have solid blocking at 8 feet for our shear panels, and we have our zip wall. And then of course our roof comes down, metal roof on there, our fir beadboard. It all matches the house nice and neat. But the reason for the balloon framing is I wanted to get that additional 30 inches before we sprung up for the rooftop there. So that gets us a little bit more. I mean, this number allowed us to dial in this 17 foot, right? I mean, we're probably at like 1611 is my guess as to what that height is. So we were able to dial that in. You know, this could have been 2'7", 2'8", whatever it is. But basically the wall frame goes all the way up to there. And when you do that, right, the risk is that, well, the risk is if we stopped it there and then did a little knee wall there, well, you create these hinge points. So this wall wants to go out like that. This wall wants to kick out like that when a load is applied to the roof. So you have that hinge point where things want to go wonky and go outboard. So the way you defend that is by building this as a full balloon frame wall, having that blocking in, having the floor come in, but the floor runs inside that wall, and we attach the exterior wall to the floor diaphragm, which has that 3/4 inch subfloor running across the top of it there, so we can lock that all in. But there's no hinge point there because the wall isn't broken. It's a 2x6, and notice it's 16 inches on center here because it's a garage, and we weren't too worried about the thermal properties of the garage here, so we put a little extra lumber in there to provide adequate stiffness to the wall system. But by having that balloon frame basically tee in to our floor frame there, then we have that nice rigid piece there where when this wants to go, the floor is actually pulling that wall back, even though the roof is trying to push it out. There, when it gets loaded or when the wind blows severely, that pulls that back nice and neat. Other than that, I think, yeah, that is our garage section. Like I said, not a whole lot of rocket science in there, but like everything we do, there are little areas where you have to give a little extra additional thought. in how we solve for that. So we probably wouldn't quite do that today, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we would. The house I'm in actually has a detail very similar to that. We have a bunch of knee walls, and I balloon framed and then set the floor 32 inches below the top of the wall to tie that in. But anyways, great project. We can officially say our time with Passive House 11 has come to an end. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I don't know what we have, probably 14 or so videos plus or minus where we reviewed that, but have no fear. I have literally tons of projects, so just got to pick out the right one and see what we want to talk about next. So thanks for joining me on not only this video, but following through the whole series of my very first passive house. We've done a number of them since. It was an extremely great learning experience. But anyways, you got it. I'm Steve Basic Architect. I am a contributor on the Build Show Network. And if you're looking for more, you know where you can find me. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. And of course, yeah, you found me here. You know what I'm going to say. Smash that subscribe button, right? Tell all your friends. We'll be back. I have some really cool, really interesting projects. I literally have handfuls and handfuls of some cool stuff that taught me things along the way. So, you know, Build Show Network, you get to see stuff that we're doing right now here on YouTube. You get to see stuff we're doing right now, but I'm mixing in a whole lot of where did this stuff come from. Now, you know, you got to remember, we designed this house in 2009. Double wall assembly, triple glazed windows, air tightness below 0.6. All of those things were somewhat, you know, just not even understood by the building community in America. I mean, Passive House was in its infancy. This was the 5th one in the nation, not the 5th one in this town or 5th one in New England, 5th one in the nation. So we were really, you know, getting bloody going through the wall here, really learning a whole bunch of things that then helped me come to understand things as we moved on to other passive house projects and just building in general. That allows me to talk about the things that I do. So anyways, if you got questions, comments, thoughts, drop them down below. If you loved the whole series, drop a comment in there. You know, I tell people, I can help you out. This is a discussion. It's not a lecture, right? I'm hoping that you're going to give me some feedback. If you want to see something different or wish you had seen something, point it out, and then, you know, in the next series or something, I can steer the boat in a slightly different direction and see a little bit more of something else. So anyways, until next time, I'm Steve Basic Architect. Long live our buildings.